The Switch Axe is new to this generation of Monster Hunter. It is split between two forms, the Axe mode and the Sword mode. While in Axe mode you can run, similar to how it works with Longsword and Hammer, while in the Sword mode you are restricted to walking, similar to Greatsword. The Switch Axe is inherently more complex due to having two different modes of operation, but you'll come to understand it quickly enough if you just use it for a while. If it seems really confusing now, just stick with it. It'll make sense eventually and you may find that you have a new favorite weapon. Switch Axe can sidestep out of all of its attacks. This is more useful than you may think. While Sword mode is slower and clunkier, it deals more damage and activates the file effects. This lets you take advantage of openings more effectively and inflict status ailments. You are also more mobile than you may think while in Sword mode, and going into and out of Axe mode's forward stab can help you get around without needing to sheath first. There are Switch Axes with all elements and status ailments except for sleep. You can also build up exhaustion with exhaust files, which can also deal a very small amount of KO damage when hitting a monster's head. All attacks will deal cutting damage. Attacks while in Sword mode have additional and/or enhanced effects depending on the file type. Power files add 20% raw damage, whereas elemental files add 25% to elemental or status damage. Every other file adds a value that is specific to that Switch Axe. You'll have to look up the information for that. There's a big explosion attack, which is very cool and fun. It does cutting damage but does not affect tail cutting. Additionally, after attacking, you have a long period of time where you are able to evade. This is more useful than you might think. Switch Axe pairs well with evasion skills because of this, if that interests you. The sword gauge is in the top left during a hunt, and starts at 50% when the quest starts. It gains 5% every 5 seconds when you're not in sword mode. The reload message will display when the gauge is below 42%. Reloading will add 40% to the gauge. Switch Axe can feel very complicated at first, but I encourage you to keep using it until you get the hang of things. Try just using the axe at first and then mixing in the sword later on. That being said, I also encourage you to experiment. If Switch Axe is just too confusing and clunky, pick a different weapon. There are 12 weapon classes to choose from, 9 melee and 3 ranged. Try them all. To really excel with this weapon, you'll want to know when to use Axe mode and when to use Sword mode. That will come with experience and will vary from monster to monster. At a certain point, it will pay to understand how files affect your weapon, and look up more specifics, but that's only relevant later on. Just know that power files will add 20% to your raw damage, and you should prioritize that for the time being.